You're listening to Sip and Grow the podcast, the show where we taste awesome, delicious wines while having unfiltered conversations about our passions, experiences, struggles, entrepreneurship, and life. My name is Nicole Di Pasquale, and I'm a wine enthusiast just trying to pursue her passions and dreams while taking you on the journey with me, one episode at a time. My ultimate goal is to not only bring you wine knowledge and value, but also inspire you to enjoy your process and journey in pursuing your passions and dreams. Because guess what? The person you become while enduring the process is more important. So sit back, grab a glass, and let's sip and grow together. Hello guys, welcome back to another episode of Sip and Grow with me, your host, Nicole Di Pasquale. I'm out here, a little bit cold, but it's fine. I actually like this weather. It's like, 60? I think I looked at my phone like an hour ago, it was like 60 degrees outside. It's not that bad. Anyways, today I have a special treat. This is a wine that I've never tried before. I've never tried a wine from this specific country. So I want to introduce to you an Uruguayan wine from South America, Uruguay. We are going to try, it's a red blend, but the producer is a well-known producer in the area because there's not many producers in Uruguay, but they're up and coming. This specific family has been around for quite some time already, and their name is Pisano. So that's the family last name, but they've actually been making wine since the early 1900s. So fun facts about the Pisano family. Let's take it back to 1870. Their great-great-grandfather, Francesco, my dog, he was like, you know what, we're gonna leave Italy and we're gonna fly across to South America and just like live there. So he went from Liguria, Italy to Progreso, Uruguay, which is where this is located. Progreso is like 40 minutes from Montevideo, which Montevideo is the capital of Uruguay. And Progreso is actually in Rio de la Plata, which is like the river that like leads out to the Atlantic Ocean. So literally this Francesco, our homeboy Francesco, literally left from Italy to Uruguay and decided to live there. Then his son, Don Cesare, sorry Caesar. He literally moved over there after his father moved there to like around 1914. And he was like, hey dad, I want to plant some vineyards. Let's do this. So he planted some vineyards, and then fast forward 10 years later, aka 1924, we had the first vintage ever created. That's not this one, because that would be crazy if I had a 1924 vintage in my hands right now. We don't have that. We have a 2021 vintage in our hands right now. But anyways, that was the birth of their family starting to produce wines, and ever since then they've been making wines, and I really enjoyed listening to their story and also reading about their story, because you can see the passion within their like family history and within the few videos that I saw of like the current owners now, which are, they're the fourth generation. So there are three brothers that are running the winery right now. And it's so funny because like there's one that handles like the winemaking process. So he's the winemaker. The other brother handles like the viticulture side of things. And then the other brother handles management of exporting the wines. So I think that is a deathly trio, which is everything you need for a successful label and winery to just get your name out there. But I really appreciated listening to their story because they are all about tradition. They're all about sticking to the natural way of making or the natural process of winemaking. And you can just see the passion through their story, through, I haven't tried their wine, but I'm sure I'm gonna taste it in their wines. And right now, actually, so it's the three brothers that are running the winery and the vineyards. And their vineyards, it's not that big because they really wanted to stick to doing a family size production of wines. So it's about 74 acres big, and they have 2 vineyards within that zone where they live in Uruguay. And they are not very touristic in the sense of like, you can't go there and tour the vineyards, but they do have like a wine shop that you can go and buy their wines from them there. And they're the type of people that are more than happy to like walk you through their wines and talk about their wines and their history, because you just see their passion exude from them in like their Instagram videos and their videos that I saw online, that when I was researching their story and what they were about. But one thing that I really loved about them is that they are, Gustavo, I think he's the current winemaker. Yeah, Gustavo is the current winemaker. His like predecessor for the winemaking would be Gabriel Pisano, which is the 5th generation. I'm not sure whose son he is, but basically Gabriel is the next winemaker in the family to take over. And he's kind of right now just working with his father and his uncles. But Gustavo, the current winemaker, he really tries to stick to the artisanal way of making wine, but is very open to exploring and experimenting with new techniques, while also using winemaking technology in good measure, as long as it sticks to like the traditional way of making wine. One thing that I did read up on, they're biodynamic, organic, and I recently learned that they are also, the term is called, it's IPM, and it stands for like pest management. What is the I? It stands for integrated pest management. So what that means is they basically observe the environment, then they observe all the factors involved in like protecting the vines and the region, and they make the decisions based on what would be best for management, what would be best to like lower costs, and what would be best that will like benefit not only the people drinking the wines, but also the environment. So they try to stick as closely as possible to handling the vines and the vineyard as organically and natural as possible, but do whatever they need to do in order to protect that and make sure the integrity isn't compromised, right? So one of the things that they do is within the vines, they literally have, you know how when you see like overgrown grass and like there's random flowers sticking out of the grass? So within their vines, they have that random grass grown, and the reason they have it like that is because there are certain insects that live within that grass that actually help protect the vines from other insects. So it's kind of like using Mother Nature to your advantage. So those insects kind of like kill off the other insects that could potentially harm or damage the health of the vines. So that's another way that they kind of keep, you know, quality control of the vines. And ultimately, we all know vine health is so important because that's what ultimately gives us the nutrients to the berries that help us create this delicious, beautiful juice that we love so much. So this one's actually, since it's a red blend, it is 55% Tanat, which Tanat is their #1 grape varietal produced in that area. But this is 55% Tanat, 40% Syrah, and 5% Viognier. And it's a 2021 vintage. Let's go ahead and open it. You know, it was funny. I was talking to this business guy the other day. Super nice guy, very into wines. We were just having a conversation, and I really liked one of the things that he was telling me. We were talking about how, like, passions, and how ultimately our passions are always going to be tested. That's what he told me. He's like, your passions will always be tested. And I was like, that's a very interesting thing to say. And I said, well, he was telling me your passions are always going to be tested because there are going to be times where you think like everything is basically not going your way and going to the shits. And you're going to ultimately question yourself and be like, do I really, like, am I really passionate about this? Is this what I really want to do? Like, do I want to continue going down this path? Just because we were talking about, like, you know, like going after your passions and your dreams and all that stuff. And hearing him out, I just looked at him and I was like, well, in my opinion, right, if that's truly something that you're passionate about, I feel like those hard times aren't going to keep you from continuing to move forward, because at the end of the day, hard times are what makes us even better than what we were before, because it teaches you a lot about yourself. It teaches you patience, for sure. And it ultimately reveals something that maybe you had to work on in order to proceed to the next level. So a lot of times when something's not going your way, or it's not happening as quickly as you wanted it to happen, it's because it's exposing what it needs to expose in that moment for you to overcome and elevate and grow in order to be able to be at your best when that moment is actually for you. Because nothing is random. Like, everything happens as it should, when it should happen. And like, I feel like a lot of people get frustrated and quit so early on because it doesn't go their way when they thought it would go their way. And then you just quit, and then you just don't go after whatever you want to do. But at the end of the day, what's for you is going to happen at the time that it needs to happen for you. And the time that it needs to happen for you, you're not going to know, because you're not supposed to know. That is, you know, that's the funny part about it, that I joke around with my friends all the time. I'm like, as much as you want certain things to happen, they're going to happen when they need to happen, not when you think they need to happen. So I thought that was interesting. It was very, very nice conversation. Anyways, let's try this wine. No, but it's so funny because, like, I don't know. Me and my friends, we're always talking about, we always have deep conversations. Let's put it at that. But I don't know. I just think, like, I think once you start realizing that everything is not a coincidence is when you're going to start really living life to its fullest, because you're going to realize how and why certain things happen, or like why you had an encounter with someone on a random day. Not on a random day, like when you start noticing details of your like surroundings, or like, I don't know, a stranger comes up to you and starts talking to you about something. And then you know, has that ever happened to you where like a stranger comes up to you, you start talking to them, and then you're like, they leave, and you're like, why did that guy just randomly start talking to me about X, Y, and Z? And then you start connecting it and you're like, well, lately X, Y, and Z has been happening in this area of my life. Maybe that's like a message that I'm on the right path, or like maybe that's a message that like confirming that like what I'm doing is what I should be doing. Because, you know, God and the universe is always going to send you signs, and he always sends you signs every single day. But it's up to us to realize that they're there. Like, literally, they can be in your face. Like, all the signs are just there, like, hey, what's up? How you doing? But if you're not paying attention to them, you're not going to see them. But once you make that shift and you start paying attention to them, I feel like you're going to live a more peaceful life, a more aligned life, because you already have that peace of mind knowing that everything is happening exactly as it should. So knowing that everything is happening exactly as it should means that you are exactly where you need to be. So you're not worried because you know your dreams and aspirations or your passions or whatever you want to create out of life is going to happen at the perfect timing. Because the perfect timing is not up to you. The perfect timing is up to God. The perfect timing is up to the universe. So if you just sit back, relax, and like observe your life and just be present in the moment, you are going to have, like, every single day is going to be the best day for you. Like, obviously you're going to have some days where you're just tired or like, you don't want to like do life for a little bit. But ultimately, when you make that mindset shift, your days are going to change. Your interactions with people are going to change. You're going to be like, wow, I really learned something today from that conversation I had with that random guy that bumped into me in the grocery store and started telling me about their life. Because everything is not a coincidence. Trust me, nothing is a coincidence. So looking at this wine, let's get back to the wine. It's very ruby red. Ooh, let's smell it. It has like sharp notes of cherry, woody notes. Very like, I feel like it's gonna be high on the tannins. It almost smells like, every time I have a wine that's mixed with Syrah, oh, that's a bug on my face. Every time I have a wine that's mixed with Syrah, the Syrah overpowers all the time. How much? It's 40% Syrah. I mean, the other 55 is Tanat. But I don't know what it is about Syrah, but I feel like it always overpowers whatever blend it's in. Because it definitely has that like Syrah smell of like dark cherry, oaky, almost like a peppery note to it as well. And like even like a hint of cinnamon in there. Let's go ahead and try it. And like by peppery, I mean like it's more on like the spicy side of like black pepper, and even like anise too. Like I smell a little bit of anise. Okay, very high on the tannins, more tannic than acidic. So let's get that straightforward out of the way. If you aren't a fan of tannic wines, then you're not gonna like this. I like this. I think I would prefer to have this with like a meal versus just drinking it to enjoy it. I feel like I would appreciate it more with a meal. This is really good for an asado, which would be like a meat barbecue of sausages or like flank steak, even like a what is it called? Filet mignon would be really nice with this. Even though I probably would have another wine with filet mignon, but that's just me. It's good. It's not my favorite. It's good. I definitely feel whatever oak it was aged in, it's very overpowering. It is from 2021, so maybe if I gave this another year, maybe it would taste better. I'm not sure. I don't really drink a lot of Tanat-based red wines, so that would be something I would have to experiment with. But overall, I would give this a 7 out of 10. It's not bad. It is on the pricier side. If you're, I mean, it's not pricey. It's I think it was like $25 as well. It was between $20 to $25. I got it at Total Wine as well. But for me, I would pick another red wine versus this wine, but it's not bad. Like if we're spending $25 on a red wine, I have 5 other red wines in my mind that I'd rather spend the $25 on. But again, with this economy, $25 isn't terrible for a wine, especially if you're looking for quality. But at the same time, my mind also goes to, we're drinking a wine from South America, where they tend to be a little bit on the more economical side of things. And I already have a lot of other different red wines in mind from South America that are taste way better than this wine and are probably within like the $15 range, like $12 to $15 range, you know? But that's just, it's a different grape varietal. It's one of my favorite grape varietals. So that's just me being biased. This wine is actually really good. It's not bad at all. It's just personally, I would choose another red wine. So my rating is 7 out of 10. Let me know what you think. Check it out. Go to Total Wine, get a 2021 Pisano Red Blend. Tell me your thoughts. I think it's great to have with barbecue. I think when I have food, I would appreciate it more. But overall, I really love this producer. I love their story. I would love to one day go to their place and visit their shop and just talk to them, because I feel like they have a lot of stories and are very knowledgeable, and it would just be a good time to like talk with them, because I love doing that with producers. But yeah, let me know what you think. Cheers to another episode, and as always, drink your wine tonight, because why not?